Hey guys, it's Courtney, the Emmy Lion. You know, those of you that have followed me for a while know that, my shtick is talking about the carnivore way of eating versus ME/CFS. And I started this channel to kind of chronicle that journey. And I give you guys updates on symptoms and setbacks and things like that. Today's going to be a different sort of video. And today's video is on a topic that the carnivore diet can't fix. It doesn't help it at all. And that thing is grief. I've had to restart this video several times, so I'm going to try to get through it without crying. Some of you will think this is really silly, I know that, but this past Saturday, April the 13th, at 6:45 a.m., I lost my best friend, my best little furry companion. His name was Tater. I called him Monkey Man. He was Mommy's Monkey Man. He was my little special needs kitty. He had inflammatory bowel disease, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a grade 4/6 heart murmur, and several food intolerances. He was extremely high maintenance. I didn't care. I would do anything for him, and we went through a lot together. I got sick in 2017, he got sick in 2018, and we spent a lot of hours together, stuck in the house, As most of you know, I've been housebound for almost 7 years. August will make 7 years. And he was right there with me day in and day out, 24/7. And he was such a comfort to me. My husband had to travel a lot at that time. And sometimes he'd be gone for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And usually someplace very far away. And that was really tough for so many reasons, but my little monkey man, he not only did he make it bearable, he made a really devastating situation as happy as it could be. He kept me smiling and laughing. He was so funny and bossy. He was so bossy. And he made me accountable. He had a very strict routine. He got medications 4 times a day and meals 4 times a day with the medication. And he trusted me so much. He never fought me or gave me any trouble. He just let me give his meds, and he was so loving about everything. And I don't know how I'm gonna do this without him. And I know that probably sounds really stupid to some of you guys, but he was the only company I had a lot of the time. And I can't even stand being in my house. I'm out here on my golf cart, just kind of in a daze. I didn't realize how much of my time and my day and my world revolved around him. I don't have kids, and I think that all my maternal instincts came out on this little cat. And he got so sick in 2018, and he was so needy, and I think that bonded us even closer, you know. And I know it sounds weird, but it's one of the greatest pleasures of my life to be his mommy. He had a 24/7 private duty nurse and a stay-at-home cat mom. I almost lost him a few times, I think. But I was here with him and I could catch things early. I knew when he was off, you know, even if no one else could tell, I knew when he was off. And so we caught most things pretty early, you know. And what ended up happening, he went into heart failure back in August of 2022, and they told me he only had a couple months to live. And I brought him home, and I just decided we're not doing anything else invasive, and we're not running back and forth to the vet. I'm going to keep him home, and we're just going to focus on quality of life. And that's probably the old hospice nurse in me, but I just got really protective of him. And you know, he bounced back. He completely bounced back, and I didn't think I was going to get a Christmas with him that year, but I did. And then I got another Christmas. We had this past Christmas with him, and that time was so special, you know. And he was thriving at home. I mean, really energetic. He'd just spaz out and run around the house, and always begging to play with his toy. He wouldn't play by himself. I had to play with him. He had one of those wand toys, and that was his favorite. He didn't want to play with the little balls with the bells. He didn't want to play with little catnip sacks. He didn't want any of that. He wanted me to play with him with his wand toy. We called it Birdie. His Birdie. And he was just doing so well. And then he developed some kind of infection. He was having all this purulent nasal discharge, and it was always on the same side. It's always coming out of his right nostril, and he'd sneeze a lot. And so I thought it was a respiratory infection, and the vet called in a couple rounds of antibiotics, and then I started thinking it doesn't really make sense that the discharge is always on one side, and he doesn't have watery eyes. He doesn't even act like he's sick. So I didn't really want to take him and stress him at the vet, but you know, I took him in, and we sort of speculated that he had a bad tooth. And with cats, their teeth are so close to their nasal cavities that if they've got a abscess or something, that the infection can kind of like burrow into the nasal cavity and cause all the symptoms that he was having. And we didn't think that he was a candidate for a dental, because, you know, they have to go under anesthesia, and with his heart condition, there's no way we were going to consider that. So we pulsed antibiotics for months, and they got to the point where they were just losing efficacy. And honestly, I cringed every time I gave them to him, you know, because I felt like I was just nuking his microbiome. But I didn't really have any other choice either, because the other choice was to just let an infection fester and let him get septic and die, you know, and I didn't want to do that either. So we were between a real rock and a hard place. And I know the lighting in this video is not real good, but you know, whatever. So I scheduled an appointment. I went in with the vet just by myself to talk to her and kind of pick her brain. And one of the vets said, "Hey, what is his quality of life like?" And I said, "It's actually really good right now. He's eating good. He's playful. He sleeps good. Like, he loves his routine. He's happy and active and vibrant, you know." And they said, "Well, I wouldn't rule out doing another echocardiogram." And so I did, and his echo actually looked really good. His HCM was stable, and they thought, you know, maybe he can maybe he can sustain a dental procedure. It's either that or he just continues to, decline with an infection, and no path forward seemed good, like there was no good way forward. But I decided reluctantly to let him do the dental. I thought, let's not count Monkey out. He's such a tough guy. He's come through a lot, and maybe he deserves the chance to fight. Maybe I shouldn't deprive him of that. And so Friday, we took him in for his dental, and I got a phone call at like 11:30, and it was the vet, and she was like, he did great. He did perfect. His heart rate, blood pressure, everything did so great. We're going to keep him for a few hours and let him wake up and monitor him, and we'll let you know when you can come get him. I brought him home around 3:30, and, he seemed a little loopy, but fine. He took a nap for about an hour, and then he got down, and he started acting a little bit funky, just kind of restless, nothing that you could really put your finger on, but just restless, And I thought, well, he's probably a little uncomfortable. And then around 6 o'clock, he just kind of started squalling out in agony, and they said I could give him, another dose of pain medicine, and I did that, and he just continued to go downhill, and by midnight, his pupils were dilated. The light had left his eyes, and he was completely lifeless. And then through the night, he started having seizures. And if you're thinking, why didn't you take him to the emergency vet? He wouldn't have survived the car ride, and I didn't want him to die at the hospital with strangers. I held him up close to me, and I just held him all night long. And then around 6:45 in the morning, he died in my arms, And I'm devastated. I'm completely shattered. And I wish that the carnivore diet could help grief, but it doesn't. Anyway, I don't really know why I'm sharing this. I'm a private person with stuff like this, but maybe you guys are going through something similar, or have been through something similar, or will go through something similar. And, sometimes we just have to talk this stuff out. And I have been blaming myself and replaying the whole thing out, and I have cried nonstop since 6:45 on Saturday morning for the most part. Today is probably the first day I've gone this long without crying, and I can find some peace if I'm outside. I can't stand to go inside. I can't stand to go in my house. I can't stand to go in my bedroom. He's everywhere, but he's nowhere. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that with you. You've been such a great group of subscribers. You've always been so supportive and encouraging, and a really kind group of people. And, that's what I'm going through right now, and I'm devastated, So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I will do a video here soon with some carnivore updates, good news, and more of my regular type of stuff. But I guess I needed to talk it out. And so sorry if this was a lame video, or you think I'm silly for grieving a cat like this, but he was my everything, and I am shattered. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Hey, monkey. You hungry? Yeah. I love you. Are you ready for yum yums? Should we get monkey some yum yums? Should we? Yeah, should we? Should we? Monkey, you hungry? You know darn well I am. I just
Answer that question, lady. Monkey, are you hungry? Okay. Okay, did mommy and monkey forever? Yeah. Okay.